Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of Come Back Stronger, where we are all about comeback stories, about people who have overcome challenges and come back stronger.
That's right.
Yeah, Dana, I know that you had a little bit of a challenge today.
I had a challenge.
Because your makeup person, there was some confusion with the schedule and you didn't have anybody to do your makeup.
That's right, but I used my resources. I believed in myself. I set it straight in my mind that I would get through this, and I did that because I have Jimmy Fasig for a law partner, and if anybody knows Jimmy Fasig, you know he is going to make you be your best, overcome any obstacle, and come back stronger. So I was able to do that in a very small way just because of your influence in my life.
Well,
thank you, Jimmy.
I got to tell you, you look like you came back stronger.
Thank you.
How does she do it?
How does she do it?
Does her makeup, whips up her makeup in 5 minutes, no makeup artist at all?
I'm starting to think you're making fun of me a little bit. But you know what? We've got a really important show, though. We've got a really important good guest today who is, I like her. She's a personal friend of mine over in Jacksonville, and I enjoy this woman so much. We actually share the same birthday. We have that Sagittarius energy going on. But, you know, we laugh about coming back and overcoming problems, but, you know, not having your hair appointment, that's one thing. Losing your life partner and your business partner unexpectedly through a death, and then having to, you know, make it happen. You know, we're going to hear an interesting story because Dr. Blum, as you know, she is a chiropractor, and so many, that's how I met her, because so many of our clients, we're a personal injury law firm at Fasig Brooks, and so many of our clients initially go through some chiropractic help, and they get so much out of it, and they get so much from these people who are meeting them when they don't feel good, but they know they need to get up, they need to still go to work, they need to maybe go to some other appointments, but they got to be there for their kids, and you know, you never think about what your doctor's going through when they're trying to help you. You know?
Yeah, and so Dr. Blum, as you're going to meet her, you're going to see she's a very strong woman. And she is the kind of person that really helps a lot of people with her strength, with her wisdom, with her knowledge of her medical knowledge, and but she lost her husband, and she and her husband were actually business partners. They were both doctors in the same medical practice, and so I got to tell you, she's a very impressive woman. Yeah,
you know, and I think about that sometimes. You know, even though you and I are business partners and dear friends, but I think, you know, how would I get up and do this every day if, God forbid, something happened to Jimmy? I mean, I'm not Jimmy. I can't replicate his energy. I can't. I don't have the same relationships with people that he does. And this is he's a very. I mean, Fasig Brooks wouldn't be Fasig Brooks without Fasig.
That is so nice of you to say. Thank you.
And it hurt me to do it. But no, I'm of course joking. But no, in a practice like that, you've got to still treat the same patients. You've got to still employ and sign the front of those same paychecks because they're relying on you. They have children, they have spouses, they have mortgage payments and car payments and those sorts of things. So I'm just always impressed by these people who are able to just turn it around, keep it together. They look like they never missed a step, but I can't wait to come back and share her story with you all.
We'll be right back.
I like that people who don't have the money to pay for lawyers, they can come to a contingency fee lawyer, someone like us who only gets paid when we recover for them, and they can go toe-to-toe with giants.
You are actually just coming to us, not paying us anything, and if we're successful in getting you money, we get paid. And the more money we get for you, the more money we get. So our interests are totally aligned.
And it's a wonderful system because otherwise, how many people can afford to go hire a lawyer by the hour just so they can have their day in court? That would be almost no one. That would mean justice is only available in America to rich people otherwise. But the contingency fee agreement allows everybody to go in on equal footing. It levels the playing field. But to me, it's saying we're equal. Okay, just because you have all those resources behind you doesn't mean I have to take whatever you give me. I've got a lawyer that I can afford who can stand up to you on the same playing field, equal ground in front of a judge, and I will get treated the same way those big corporations will be treated.
Welcome back, everybody, to Fasig Brooks' Come Back Stronger, and we are about to go to our law partner, Carrie Roan, who's going to interview Dr. Nathalie Blum.
Hi, Dr. Nathalie Blum. It's so nice to have you here today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You know, you are an impeccably dressed, a beautiful woman, and you're a doctor. You're an owner of CIS, which is a chiropractic clinic here in town. You've got 2 locations. You're a family woman. You've got everything together from the outside. And I think it's so impressive. And I think it also fools people because you've got a big struggle that you've been through recently, and I want to talk about that and explore that with you.
Sure.
So tell me what the big struggle was that you had a couple of years ago.
2 years ago, my ex-husband unexpectedly passed away. And unfortunately, actually, my children were there when it occurred.
Oh, no.
So that was even a bigger hit.
I didn't know that.
Yes. He left with me having to now be a single mom of 2 boys on my own. We were business partners and left with, having a business to continue to run.
So you guys were divorced.
At the time we were.
But you were still business partners.
Correct.
So it was impactful for you, not only because you lost the father of your children, but you lost your ex-husband and your business partner.
Yes, I did.
Oh my goodness. And then you were left to raise your boys by yourself.
I was.
And you don't have any family here?
Not in Jacksonville. I have a mother in South Florida, and I just have a small family anyway, so, but I was pretty much left on my own to manage everything on my own. I am thankful that I have friends in the area and great employees and folks that I just work with, my money managers, my attorneys.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of jumped in and helped whenever I needed. They were there to help me.
You had your tribe.
Yes,
Right?
exactly.
Is that one of the most important ways or one of the most useful ways that you got through it, was your tribe of friends? Like friends who become family,
Yeah, because they knew the struggle that I had was even prior to his death. We had been kind of recently divorced, so they knew the struggles of the divorce and the struggles of running a business with somebody you're no longer in a relationship with, and also managing, co-managing or co-parenting our children together. So they understood what was going on, and when he did pass, it was they were all there for me. Everything I needed, they were there for me, and the support was phenomenal.
That's awesome. Did you rely on anything else to get through the grief process, or like the surprise of it all?
Because it was unexpected, kind of felt like I was in a dream initially, and my biggest concern were the boys and how they were going to cope emotionally. So for them, I immediately put them in therapy, and the schools that they attended immediately came in and helped with therapy, any services. They were phenomenal.
That's good.
And then for myself, didn't know what I wanted to do or how to proceed for my grieving.
Right.
Although we weren't together, I still grieved, and so I decided to try therapy. And I guess the 2 therapists that I met with, we didn't mesh. And I realized what I really just needed to do was time for myself. So time for myself, meaning exercising, just taking care of myself.
Other self-care, right.
Self-care was a huge deal for me. Still is.
Well, I think that's so important just for women, because we're
Correct.
so used to taking care of everybody else.
Yes.
That we never stop to take care of ourselves.
That is true. I totally agree. It's just myself and my boys. So self-care, and I vacation a lot, and boys vacation as well too. Just try to give the kids everything that I possibly can, even though I'm on my own. It's a blessing to be financially stable to do that. So, I'm not the typical single mother who, maybe has like 3 jobs and trying to make ends meet,
Well, yeah, but you're a single mom with 2 businesses that you're trying to run.
I do. And thankfully, 2 businesses that are successful.
That's awesome.
So, I'm in a position where I'm able to stay home and be with my children and, provide what they do need emotionally and monetarily. And
How are you the mom and the dad at the same time, though? I think so many single moms go through that, and I want to ask you about that.
It can be difficult because I have to make all the decisions on my own. And sometimes I do feel like my decisions may not be the appropriate ones just because I'm a female. What if there were a male in their life and that male was able to make a better decision because they're males? So I do have to play mom and dad. I do talk to my friends about it, like, hey, this is what's going on. What do you think? But there are times definitely where I struggle with, am I making the correct decision for them?
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it is tough.
Do you have a male influence that you go to, like a father figure that the boys can, because you have 2 boys, right?
Correct.
That they can associate with, maybe a coach or a teacher or anything like that?
I really don't. And that is something that, you have to be also very cautious with that too. So I do, the male friends that I do have, like I'll say, hey, this is what's going on, and they'll give their 2 cents. But I always want to make sure, if I, like, for example, if I bring a male into our home or introduce them as a significant other, that this male also is somebody who somebody that they could look up to as well. So that's also a concern for me, that I have to make sure to be making proper decisions as to who I'm bringing into our home.
Right. So when we come back, what I want to talk about is your business. Sure. And I know that COVID has introduced some new struggles for you as a single mom and as a business owner with respect to, making sure that your employees are taken care of. So when we come back, let's talk about that.
Sure, sounds good.
Thank you.
Wow. She hit on so many things.
Yeah, the one big takeaway that I got from it is when she talked about self-care.
Yeah.
And so many times when we go through a tragedy and we go through a struggle, and even though the pain's never going to fully go away, at least it gives us the opportunity to reevaluate our lives and to decide how to better prioritize. And in her case, in everybody's case, taking care of yourself first is critical to leading a successful, happy life where you can give back more. Because if you have more of yourself, you have more to give.
Yeah, it's like that analogy of, if you've got a pitcher of water and you just keep pouring it out, you're giving all the time, and there's nothing putting the water back in, and pretty soon you got an empty pitcher. That's just all there is to it. So, if you're going to help somebody else, you got to make sure you're taking good care of yourself. But, I like what she said about therapy, finding the right therapist. Sometimes that doesn't work. There's not one size to deal with grief. So I'm excited to hear more from her when we get back.
Yeah, when we come back, we're going to hear more from Dr. Nathalie Blum.
All right. When you come into my firm, you see a lot of faces that look like yours. You see a lot of people that had the same problem before they got to work. A lot of people who left kids with mismatched shoes and a lunch bag, you screaming, just because you had an appointment you had to make. We get you. We get you.
You have to go to a lawyer that will understand your story as a woman. Because women have different stories than men do, and that's just a fact of life. And if you're a woman that's been injured, either through a slip and fall or a trip and fall in an auto accident, you have to go to a lawyer that's going to understand what your daily existence was like before, what it's like now, what the injury means to your entire family, and what you need to do to come back and be where you were before, and even come back and be stronger than where you were before. They just need to have the courage to pick up the phone, because we are going to take the burden of this accident or you being hurt off of your shoulders. We're going to put it on our shoulders, so you don't have to worry about it. Exactly. You can worry about everything else in your life, but not this accident. We're going to worry about that for you.
Welcome back, everybody. We've been talking to Dr. Nathalie Blum. This is a woman who, she lost her husband 2 years ago, and then she comes, and her husband was her business partner, and then so she's got challenges because of that, and then she comes into 2020 and she gets hit with COVID, which has a major impact on her business, and she's going to talk right now about how she handled that and came back stronger.
So Dr. Blum, I was so impressed when we first met and we talked about your businesses and who you are, and I just think that you're such a strong woman and so positive. And then we started talking a little bit about your childhood growing up in New York. And I know that your parents were Haitian immigrants. So tell me a little bit about that, what it was like growing up in New York, the child of 2 Haitians.
It was definitely different because my parents came pretty much from nothing. And when my mother came to New York when she was in her 20s, my mother, my aunt, uncle, and grandmother all lived in a SRO, which is a single room occupancy.
Wow.
They all lived there together, and then they worked in a factory, not speaking English very well. And then eventually moved on to actually a housing project, which was in the back then in the 60s were a great place to live.
Yeah.
And then my mom educated herself as well as my aunt and became registered nurses.
Very good.
So they definitely were strong, and because they were strong, that's what I saw. And my grandmother worked as a chambermaid at the Sheraton Hotel in New York.
Wow.
And so although they came from a very poor country, they evolved and they became very hardworking people, and I saw that.
And they instilled that in you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I knew when I wanted to go to college was the next step after high school, and then after college, took some time off. I was a social worker. Then I went into chiropractic.
Really? Dana was did you know Dana was a social worker too? Yeah,
no.
she was too. So it's interesting because you were raised by immigrant parents, but they were very strong and very hardworking. And that obviously was instilled in you.
Sure.
Because it's my understanding that you built your businesses from the ground up.
Correct.
It's not like you came from money.
No.
It's not like you came from a family of physicians.
Sure. My ex-husband and I built the business together. He actually came from a family with a doctor. His father was a doctor. So when we started, we had the capability to actually have family to help us, which was great. So his parents helped us, and my mom helped us, which was phenomenal. And at that point, we grew the business, and there were definitely times that the business struggled.
Yeah.
So we actually opened in 2008.
Okay.
And which was a big year with the markets crashing, and
it was the bottom of the market.
yeah, correct. So then,
But let me interrupt you real quick. Before we get into your business, I want to go back because I haven't really heard you say anything about your dad.
He was not very present in my life. My parents divorced when I was possibly like 3.
So you were raised by a single mom.
I was raised by a single mother who had a very strong support system, which was my grandmother and my aunt and uncle.
But dad was gone.
So dad was gone.
What kind of influence was he in your life?
To be honest with you, not much. He wasn't there. He wasn't there. After me, he had other children with other women, and who actually I have a relationship with a few of them.
How did that make you feel?
I think initially as a child growing up, it did bother me. Then as I got older, I realized, okay, well, this is the kind of guy he is, and I just kind of learned to accept it. And the last time I saw my father was when I was 24, when I went to visit him in Haiti, and when I turned 33 is the year that he passed away.
Oh, your dad passed
Yeah.
away. And you said earlier that he was kind of a drug dealer in and out of prison. when you were growing up?
He just didn't make really good decisions.
Yeah.
Actually, my mom told me years ago in his 20s he lived in Jacksonville,
No kidding.
which I thought was so funny. He lived
Yeah.
in Jacksonville for a month, which I think is hilarious. And now I live in Jacksonville. So he just didn't make good decisions. But thankfully, I had a mother who educated herself, sent me to really good schools in New York, and I knew I had it instilled in me to further my education.
Sounds like your mom sacrificed a
did.
great deal to
She
get
did.
her daughter through school.
She did. My mom, I do owe a lot of who I am and where I am right now due to my mom.
And your aunt and your grandmother.
Correct, yes.
Very strong women.
They were all strong women, correct.
So then, fast forwarding ahead to your business, you married your husband, and you guys were both in chiropractic school.
Yes.
And then you started your business with nothing.
With
right?
nothing, yeah. We did have family to help us, which was great. We actually moved locations like 3 times, trying to find the perfect location. I excelled with meeting people, marketing myself, marketing the business, and it's one of my strengths. And with that, took that and ran. And now, the business has been open for 12 years. I have 11 employees. I don't currently work as much as I had before because now I'm, the single mom, and
Right.
I'm just unable to be at work. That's where we are now.
How do you do it? How do you have 2 businesses with 11 employees? Because you have to take care of all your employees.
Yes.
You have to take care of your children. Your mom's not here.
Correct.
Your dad's deceased. How do you do it all? I mean, who takes the kids to school and picks the kids up and takes them to the doctor and handles all your HR stuff at your office at the same time?
I have a great office manager. She's been with me for many years. I do have a system, and I've perfected the system. So it works well, so it doesn't require me to always have to be in the office. You know, yeah, I'm responsible for payroll, I'm responsible for paying taxes, and I do have a great support system around me.
Yeah.
And I just manage it. I just manage it like it's like, you know, it's inside of you. You know what you can and can't do. You know, once in a while I'll get babysitters to help me if I can't make it, you know, with taking my son to practice. But generally I'm at all the practices and at all the games. But it's in me. It's instilled in me, and it's what I do.
So, and I think you learned that growing up, but I think a lot of women and a lot of people struggle with that. So what would you say to people who are going through or have been through similar struggles? Maybe they've lost a business partner, they've lost a spouse, maybe gone through struggles with a parent like you went through.
Sure.
What would you say to them? How do you find it inside of you? Where do you find it from?
I do think it is instilled in me, and it's just normal. You know, it's normal to be to rush here and get this done and have a to-do list, and it's great to have a great support system. Self-care, taking time for yourself as well. I need the time to exercise. I need the time for myself, and having some sort of schedule works. Having every day knowing what you're going to do the next day.
Time management.
Time management is huge.
Right.
It's huge.
So it sounds like the key to your comeback story, really. I mean, and it's not just a comeback story. It's like a life built upon a lot of challenges.
Sure.
Sounds like the key to that for you is really the support system, be it from your mother, your aunt, your grandmother, or the cadre of friends that you have around now that have been there through your divorce and the death of your ex-husband.
Well, I find that also. I'm not the only person in my situation. I find that you find other professionals who are in the same situation as you, or similar, and it's kind of like they're there to help you.
And you lean on each other.
Exactly,
Yeah.
you lean on each other.
Yeah, well, that's what we're all in this together, right?
Correct, I agree.
Well, thank you so much for coming by to talk with us.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You're very
It was great.
impressive. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, there are so many takeaways from that, Dana.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think is the big point for me is that she was able to, despite all the challenges and being a single mom and running two businesses, she was able to delegate.
Yeah.
And what I always like to say is you've got to delegate to elevate.
Yes, you do. Or if you don't delegate, you stagnate.
There you go.
Jimmy's got a rhyme for everything, y'all.
Yes.
But no, it's true. And you know what? How many women have mastered that?
Yeah.
Women are just
no.
not
They
good
feel
at that
a
at
lot.
all.
Not just women, but a lot of people feel like they have to do it all themselves.
Yeah.
And the reality of it is, doing it all yourself is often the worst possible thing that you can do.
100%.
And Dr. Blum is a good example of that.
You think nobody will do it as well as you will do it, or at the level you expect, or whatever, and that's not true. And if you really can just open your mind, you'll find that sometimes people do it better than you do. You just got to give them the opportunity.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I like her. I like everything she's saying. I can't wait to talk more about it.
We're going to talk more about it when we come back right after this.
This is the most rewarding job. I tell people, if anybody knows about me in my past, I was a social worker, and I loved the spirit of the job. I loved the mission, but I felt like I couldn't do as much for them as I wanted to do. I felt like they needed more than someone to listen to them. I think they needed somebody to act for them, somebody to be their voice and to stand up for them. And so law school gave me the opportunity to be the consummate social worker, the best social worker I could be.
Because your injury may be permanent, your loss may be permanent, but your situation isn't necessarily permanent.
Your mindset about this situation is not permanent.
I was just thinking about one of my former clients this week. It's a woman with 4 or 5 children, single mom, struggling, and we helped her with a case. And I looked her up, and she's a real estate agent now, and she seems like she's doing great. And I was so proud of her to see that, and it's exciting.
Welcome back. We are we are at the end, the final segment of the show, where we've been talking to Dr. Nathalie Blum, and she is such an interesting person.
She is.
She's such a strong person. And
so self-possessed.
yes, and she's doing so well. And I just feel like listening to her, there are so many takeaways that people can use to really kind of model her behavior.
Yeah.
And one of the important things that I saw was that she got where she was because of her strong role models.
Yeah, yeah. She was able to pull on things. You know, so many people would look at her situation and say, I didn't have a dad.
Yeah.
I don't have a nuclear family, you know, I don't have these things. And I think she maybe looks at it differently, which is I've got a lot of resources. I need to pull them, I need to help them, I need to optimize them to help me do what I've taken on here, you know, this business, these employees. Treating these patients. You know, patients get very attached to their doctors, and they don't like to not be able to get to them. So I like that she welcomed the challenges and that she just didn't go to bed and stay there.
Yeah.
And I know that has to be what you feel like so much of the time. You just want to pull the covers over your head and say, somebody else, you know, do adulting and do life right now. But she didn't do that. But she also, it didn't just happen for her. She employed a lot of good.
Systematize.
Yes, she did.
I mean, this is a woman that she's going to all of her kids' soccer games.
Right.
She's with all of their important events, and she's running 2 businesses. But she made it clear she had to delegate to her staff.
Yes.
She had to systematize by time management, which basically means putting things on your calendar.
Yeah.
To-do lists don't work anymore.
No.
I mean, that's old school. We don't do to-do lists. If we make a list of what we want to do, and then we put it on our calendar so that it's actually a block of time that is set for that.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of thing that she did.
I like that, and I also like that she is very self-effacing. She realizes I am a woman and I have a unique experience, but I'm trying to parent 2 boys and grow them into fine, contributing men.
Yes.
And then I like that she says, you know, she takes very seriously the people she introduces them to and puts in their lives, but she also seeks the input of other mentors, male mentors. And I want to ask people out there, because that's necessary. We've got a lot of women heading households now and raising children, raising boys. And I don't care how good a person you are, you need a village, you need people helping you, but you also need somebody who looks and sounds and is having the same experience of these children you're trying to parent. So if you are someone out there and maybe your children are raised and you've just got some time and you're a great guy, I wish you would consider mentoring some of these boys and helping these people out.
Yeah, there are some really good organizations that are designed for doing that.
Yeah.
We have a group called Fasig Brooks Come Back Stronger Group. You can join us on Facebook, and we will look forward to meeting you, and also to the next episode, which will be airing very shortly.
Follow us on social.
We're giving you a game plan on how you can take back control of your life to not just get back to where you were before you started, but also to come back stronger. This is a tragedy in your life, it's an accident, or it's a loss that you never expected to suffer. But every tragedy carries with it the seed of an equal opportunity. And so our job is to guide our clients to take advantage of that opportunity. And that is the most fulfilling thing that I do in my job. When I give my client that settlement check at the end of the day, if they can walk out of there feeling like they are the hero of their own story and they're proud of themselves because they did what I asked them to do, they took my guidance and they ended up with seeing that light at the end of the tunnel and actually reaching that light, that's what it's all about.